Okay, so Michele has over 30 years of experience in special education in Lumpkin, is that right? Did I say it right?
Yes, ma'am.
In Lumpkin and White counties in Georgia. She helps students with disabilities through effective teaching and teamwork. Her background includes K through 12, so she's done it all, and she's was done teaching and leadership roles with the Georgia Department of Education, where she has helped start the Georgia Alternate Assessment. So good job. That's very impressive. Michele has led training on IEP development, co-teaching, community-based instruction, along with a myriad of other things. She has collaborated with Voc Rehab to support students in achieving educational and workforce success. Currently, she serves as a special education director and has been recognized as the System Teacher of the Year and the Philip Wright Award. So congratulations on all those. That's fabulous. So without further ado, Michele, take it away.
Okay. Well, I'm hoping that all of you get a little something out of this today. I know that I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of our self-contained students, is what we call it here in Georgia. But I'm also going to tell you how we're using Ed Associates, or going to be using Ed Associates curriculum, Project Discovery, more in our CTAE classes as well. But if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And then if it's something that needs to be answered right then, they're going to monitor it for me, but otherwise we'll do that at the end, just so I can get through some of this, because I have a lot I want to say. Hopefully you'll all get something from this today, and if not, I apologize, but as I saw who all was in this, I'm trying to make sure I can touch on things that all of you would find important today. So I'm going to have Ms. Causey move us through this presentation, because I'm always technology crazy sometimes. So we'll move on into the next slide. And that just is me saying that I'm doing this with them. I pulled this off of the website years ago, and I just love this little graphic because it talks about teaming together to champion your students. And that's what we're doing. All of our students, from elementary up through high school, we are teaming together to work on champion our students so they can be successful for the world after high school. Because I tell our parents all the time, I do not want them to graduate to the couch. That is what I say to them all the time. And so that is why I've been very passionate about this area and trying to work to help our students to be more successful. All right, next. So today I did have some learning targets I put on here. And so I hope by the end of the day today, y'all can tell me what career curriculum is available, if you don't already know, from Ed Associates. And you already saw that because you saw the checklist, the wish list, as I call it, earlier. And then I hope you can use the career. How can you use it with your students with disabilities? Maybe I can give you some new ideas you hadn't thought of. And is it appropriate for more than one level of students? The awesome thing about Ed Associates is they do have those leveled areas for you. And then how can you align it to your curriculum with your career tech ed programs in your schools? And this is where we spend a lot of time, our community-based vocational instruction programs, and also about work-based learning and how we can do that. And so the big question always is, how expensive is it? In my mind, that's something that always comes up, because you got to make sure you can afford it. So hopefully we can talk about all of that and give you some ideas on some creative ways to help out with funding at the end as well. So that's just kind of where we're going to go today. So next, please, Miss Causey. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to show y'all is a video. And I want to show you this video because to me, this video is an example of where I want my kids at the high school to go when they leave us. So this is our coffee cart at our high school, which has become a staple in our community. We're even starting to do weddings and events now. But I'm going to show you a young lady who used to not do anything at school, only came 1 hour a day when she entered high school, and is now there full day and is helping run our coffee cart. And she is a wonderful story. But I just want you to see this quick little video and think about the job skills that you see during this,
It
and just
won't let
kind of
me access it, Michelle. It
it
won't let
won't.
me
Okay.
It
Well,
says
then
I
we'll
need
get to
access
it.
to it.
My bad. Hold on. Can you give me just a second?
Yep.
Okay. I hate to do that. I should have given you access yesterday.
That's all good.
Okay. So, just 1 second. And I usually try to do that, but share and then okay. All right, I just did it.
Okay.
Share anyway. Yes, ma'am. I apologize about that.
No worries. No worries. All right. Let me try
See if
it.
it'll let you.
It did. Okay. Hold on. Let me drag it over there. Can you see it?
Yeah, if you can make it bigger, that'd be great.
Sure will. Maybe.
I mean, they may be able to see it. I just wanted them to see it. Okay. So then if you'll hit play, yeah. So we have a coffee cart that serves before school and at break at school, and it is complex now. They have all different types of iced coffee, frappuccinos, hot chocolate, iced hot chocolate, or iced. Yeah, that makes no sense. I know. We also color coded for those who can't read. Well, we also have lists, and it's a really neat experience. They even have a cash register, they have a card reader,
I'm sorry, Sean. I'm
everything. So
holding
they
you.
are doing all of it now.
Thompson, attention on, here it goes. All right, get another check. Okay.
So my thing I want you to see is just that this young lady is very independent, doing it pretty much now, and she has come so far. They have barista name tags, everything. But it has been a great thing for her, and it's what makes my heart happy is to see our kids do like this. So you don't have to keep playing it. I just wanted to spotlight that just for a second. Okay, so I'm going to tell you that I'm going to show you things from kindergarten and pre-K all the way up to 12th grade, because when we started using the career programs for Ed Associate, the kits that we have, we decided that with our community-based instruction, we wanted to try to, even though it's not written for elementary schools, we wanted to start putting those things in even at elementary, and those trips that those kids go on would help to support everything that we do as they get older as well. So we have kids here on our community-based outing that you can see them exploring airplanes and fire trucks, and those are all things that could be real careers one day. So we're trying to really instill that in them when they're younger and keep doing it every year till they graduate. Next. So now let's look at the Education Associates Career Curriculum. So next. Before that, though, I had one little slide I wanted to throw in here. If you're ever bored and you want to go to look at our Facebook page, or Instagram page, sorry, it's WCSS Warriors at Work, and it has all kinds of pictures of our students and everything they're doing. And so that's been a great thing that we've added. So next, sorry about that. I forgot I put that in there. So here is some of the things. This is one of the kits, the career curriculum kits. So if you have the kit that is maintenance, I believe is the name of it. I just forgot all of a sudden. You get the kit and you get these items with it. And so this is one of our kids who has gone through the program at the high school, young man, and he's worked through it at his level, which is an adapted level. And he has learned all the steps for the maintenance. He's done the PowerPoints that go with it, the activities. he is doing all this cleaning in our building right here. But later you'll see how once he learned it, he's practiced in our building, how he's using it out of the building. And we have a few young men and women that we taught all this in our school. And then now they work for our cleaning service through our system after they graduated. So it's been a great training program, and we've worked really well with our maintenance people to help our students be employable at the system. So anytime you can help to develop those jobs for people with someone you know or someone that's willing to work with you, it's great to tap into that relationship. Next. So I just put in here's the programs that we looked at. We looked at the time of the project discovery. And so career awareness, career exploration, adapted, and job skill training. And we started out with the adaptive programs is what we started out with. And then we are moving more into our career awareness and career exploration. And I will tell you about that as we move through. Next. So why did we choose Ed Associates? Well, why did we go with that? Well, I will show you next. So this is some of the research that's out there that you can find on Ed Associates website. But why did we choose this? Because it's proven results. The numbers speak for themselves. If you use programs like this, Job Ready, Life Ready, graduation rate, proven result has gone up. Employment rate has gone up, and the dropout rate has gone down. And that is one of the many things that made us look at using the Ed Associates project discovery programs. Next. Then you already saw this earlier, but when I saw that it was approved and validated and it's research based, it made me want to even look at it more. So the things such as being supported by CASE, being supported by NOCTI, all those things made it important, and I felt like was the right program to go with. And then knowing that it was research based helped us to feel better about it. And you can find the research out there on how it was developed and what they looked at and how to do it. Next. So here's what's awesome about it. When you look at the curriculum, what better way to explore careers than with real tools? So you got the real kits, these kits, you got the mop, the bucket, you've got those things. Then you've got built-in academics and assessments. You've got materials for career exploration. You have job skills training. You have transition preparation. Your transition goals for those of you who are transition people right there. How to do maintenance or how to explore a job like that. You have the things there that you can use to help write their transition plan. Keep going. So how can you use this with students with disabilities? And is it appropriate for more than one level? So we'll move forward here next. So I'm going to put pictures in so you don't get bored of my words and my talking. So here, same maintenance kit. We have one of our young ladies in the adaptive program who learned how to clean the windows and the glass and the sinks. And you see her using it. And after she went through the steps and learned all that from the kit. So next. So here is a picture of the kits. So what I like about this is it doesn't take up, and now with things being electronic, it's even better, but it doesn't take up a lot of space. So we have a small footprint. We have these containers that have all the curriculum in it that you need. There's data collection, data sheets. They're already printed for you. There's a pre and a post test, so you know what they can do to begin with and then where they are at the end, and then some work performance benchmarks. So all that's in this kit, which makes it wonderful because you don't have to go create everything yourself. All right, next. Here's another thing that sold me on this. There's the research out here about what parts go along with your IDEA demands. And then what does project discovery, how does it meet those needs? And I won't read all of these. That's something y'all can look at when you get the presentation. But This shows you that what they've done fits right into what IDEA says we should be doing. Applied learning, hands-on learning, meeting the standards, is research-based, based on the student need. It's all inclusive. It's visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and there's different levels. So it meets all those needs. Next. Okay, core academics. You need some core academics. So you have those kids, whether they're in your adapted programs or they're a learning disabled student in a gen ed class. Sometimes they just want to know, how does this math or these core academics apply to anything I'm going to do in my life? So it's a neat thing to have, where you have, especially in the adapted curriculum, you have reading, math, and reasoning skill levels that are required for the jobs. You have positive impact on your test scores, and it's correlated to those national core standards, state standards, and most of the systems have alternate standards. And so it ties very nicely to all that. Next. So just another picture here. We travel, like I said. So here's our kids using the skills they've learned, and they are at a local industry doing coffee one day for the industry. So they were paid to come do it, and they take tips, and it was a great experience. So next slide. So this is just another example of the kits. I wanted to try to put some pictures in case you're unfamiliar with it. This shows a caregiver kit. And I will tell you that the caregiver kit, we are looking at getting that recently to use in our healthcare science program with some of our kids who are lower, who can't do everything that they're asking in healthcare science, but yet they could still do some of the activities. And then if you have this, you can use this with your healthcare science teacher. And if you have a para that's supporting them in there, or a teacher or somebody, they can be doing some of the same skills, but at their level and with some help. And you don't have to create all the lessons yourself. It's already there for you. But it comes with all these things, such as a blood pressure cuff, mask. It's got digital instructions. It's got everything you need. Next. Okay, so here I just put on here is this as the adaptive program, and there is a scope and sequence. This is why I wanted to show y'all this. There's a scope and sequence for everything that you would purchase in these kits. And so it's got what you use it for, when to use it, read this first. So it tells you what to do. It's laid out for you. Okay, next. So this was just a sample of a pre-test and a post-test. And so this was a data sheet, which one is the fork? And that's just one of the questions. And then over here, there is a kit that is for learning how to set a table. And so over here where it says activity 1, setting a table, you've got data sheets already created for you with your task analysis on what they should do. And you've got columns so you can practice with your students doing that. So if they wanted to work in a restaurant one day, this is a great activity for them to work through to practice those skills. Next. Then the other part I love about this is from the adaptive program anyway, is the vocabulary cards and the worksheets. So you've got these vocabulary cards that have pictures, and then you got pictures and words. They go along with the unit. And so this is your application, your academic section, your English language arts that goes along with the kits. And it's already done for you. So that makes it even better. Then you've got PowerPoints and you've got printed materials in the binder. So you've got them both. You've already got the PowerPoints. You've got your unit activities. You can do this individual or in groups. There's so many different things you can do. This shows you just like a story, I guess you could say, that says table service means taking care of customers in a restaurant. So you're learning what it is. You're seeing the pictures, and you're seeing the same things, the same pictures throughout. So it all correlates, and it works very well together. Next. I told you earlier, this is one of the data sheets. This was just a better picture of it. You can also see, you can put down the types of prompts that were needed, if they're even needed, but you already have your task analysis. I don't know how many of you used to have to create those on your own, but it took a lot of time. But having these already created for you is awesome, because you just pull them out of the notebook or off the slides that you have or the digital curriculum, and you move forward. Okay, next. So you saw this young lady earlier cleaning some windows and the glass, and now you see her taking some of her work skills that she's learned, and she goes to our local bank. She gets the key from the teller to go to document destruction. She goes to everybody's office, gets their recycling document destruction materials, and then puts them in the document destruction bin. And so this is just an example of how, when we learn these skills in the classroom, then we take them into the real world to use them as well. And one of the kits they have is sorting, mail room stuff. So you can find ways to make it apply to everything. So this one is our backpack buddies, which what we call it. But with this, our kids are packing, sorting, making bags of food that go home each week with kids who might not have as much at home. This is all about grocery store, basically. They're learning and assembly line work. And so this skill is something they can transfer out into the real world as well. So that's just one of our things that we do now, and it's been great for them. Next. Okay, so all this is just another picture of some of the stuff in your kits. You've got video modeling, you got PowerPoints with audio, you got visual schedules, you have live models and real pictures. And so on the right-hand side, you see a placemat that you can lay down to begin with if you're setting a table, and they put all the things where it says to put it. And so you can scaffold this. You can start by having them put the things where they go based on seeing the words or the pictures. And then you can take that away and have them do it on their own. And like I said, you don't have to create it. It's already there for you. Next. This just shows the video modeling. At the bottom, you'll see it's childcare. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But these are research shows that video modeling is effective for teaching social and functional skills. So this is a great way to do this by using these kits you can get. Next. Here, I wanted to continue to show you how these academics can be added in here. And so this is our math integration worksheets. And if you see, this is your algebra, basically. What is the X here? And so you can see all the different worksheets they have and different things you can do that go right along with what you're doing academically and what you're doing life skill-wise. Next. So here is another visual schedule. So your kids need that visual schedule with the steps. And this is what you got right here. I know that I had a young lady more than a couple of years ago, but in cosmetology at the high school. And she was struggling to remember the steps for different activities we were doing. So I took pictures every day of each little step, and we put it in a binder and created our own visual schedule. Well, here that took a lot of time, but now so many people have got really smart, and they're using this in different ways, and this is just an example of the steps for doing something, such as washing your hands before you set the table. Next. Okay, vocabulary boards are here too. You can play memory games with them, flashcards, everything. They have all of that. So it's a neat thing. Next. That's just a better picture of it. You got your own dictionary. It can be words. It could be the pictures. And these are in the kits as well. Okay, so this is once again one of my favorite parts. This is like your decision making skills. So in these kits comes all these things about how making decisions. So it'll give you a scenario, and then they have to decide what do you do next, A, B, or C. And these are real world job application things. And when I read this and saw this, I just laughed because first couple of years that I was teaching in a high school, I would start off every day with I had these little, the little file card boxes or your recipe card boxes, and they would draw something out and it would say, you had a flat tire today, you got to write a check for this or whatever. Well, they've got scenarios already created, and I just laugh sometimes because I wish I'd thought about creating all this and selling it one day. But some great things here that you can use to help them problem solve. Then I told you about bingo. This stuff's already there. Some of the other, you know, cards and things that are in the kits. So we'll move that on. Then you always want to do something fun. Well, here's some role playing. It even has role playing activities in these kits as well. So, you can practice, and lots of kids enjoy that, or young men and women enjoy this. Also, games. There's even game cards in here, so you can make it into like a Candyland game by using these. Taking turns, following directions, so many different little steps. So, just another modality on how to teach them and how they learn. And then it tells you how you can relate this to your community-based activities as well. So this one is a social story, and they're already in there. And those of us who've done social stories know at one point they were hard to find. You had to make them yourselves. A lot more out there now. But this is a social story for going to a restaurant. So let's say you worked through all the table service, you learned all this. Maybe you're going to do community-based job site or work-based learning at a restaurant. Let's go on a trip. Let's talk about a trip to the restaurant. How do we act? What are the names of the people there? So I think this is a neat thing. You can customize the narrative. It helps them prepare for transitioning, rehearse their behaviors before they go on the trips, all these things. And it's already there for you. I'm sounding like a broken record, probably. Just another picture of our kiddos, even elementary school. And then on the left is elementary with a parent, and we are involving our parents in these trips. And then on the right is a high school student who was working at this called Puzzle Pieces Bakery in Hall County in Georgia. And he's a student that has already graduated, but when he was in high school, he started working there. So he helped with the tour with our elementary school kids to show them this place. And so it was just great for younger kids to see jobs they might could have one day, and the parents to see where they are as well. So no, writing is a big ordeal too for our kids sometimes. So this gives you some skeletal ways to write so it's adapted for your students, and they can write about their trips. So it gives you these samples to use when writing. Okay, this one is just another template about writing a thank you letter. And so after a trip, let's learn those skills. Or after you did a job shadowing, or after you were on a job site, how do you write a thank you letter? So this is another good example of that, and it gives you the template if they need it. Next. Okay. Also, this is just it will have with it your ways to prompt, and it talks about time delay prompts, least amount of prompts. How does that work? And that's just another piece that is in these kits that can help you out. That shows how kids learn and how to do the prompting, especially if you're new or paras are helping. This is a great part of these programs and kits. So We have cosmetology. Y'all heard me say that earlier at the high school. And we have kids who take cosmetology. Um, and I feel like I took cosmetology when I worked at the high school as the career tech instructor, where I went into cosmetology and other career tech classes with our students who had IEPs of all levels if they needed support. But what we've been able to do is our kids in our elementary schools who have sensory issues or who are on the spectrum or not on the spectrum, but just don't like going to a salon. We have had them go to the high school, work with our young men and young women in this program, get used to it, and then get their hair done eventually. And then their parents have been able to take them out to get their hair cut somewhere. So this has been a great thing for our all kids, from the ones in the class to the ones coming to do it. And it's just been an incredible experience for them. And what a great way for your kids to learn job skills, even in the elementary school, and then being able to practice them in high school. Another example, so you may have ag classes at your school or vet science classes at your school. So our local vets have worked with us. We take our little kids on a tour of the vet, and they learn what the vet is like. This vet has done an awesome job. They would have sensory boxes for our younger kids when they went, but then our older kids have done some job shadowing and working with them, and learned more about it. But like I said, there's animal care as a kit, and I have some kids in vet science. And so the animal care kits we're using in our gen ed classes with students who might not be able to do everything that everybody else can. And they are using that to kind of guide the curriculum to help them learn things. But that requires some work, you working with your gen ed teachers to come up with these ideas and plans. Next. Dentist office, same thing, healthcare science. Once again, our kids go, they learn more about it than our kids from the high school can work there. And so it's just showing how we're trying to start young and work all the way up. So I've talked about caregiver, I've talked about animal care, I've talked about food service. So these are just 3 of the kits, and then I've talked about maintenance, but that shows you the books. These are adapted, but they do come in different levels as well. So then you heard me showing you all this stuff, and it probably sounds like a lot, and you're like, well, how does this really go with the theme of how do you move them to successful employment? So that's where we have been working really hard, is to align this curriculum, these kits, these things that we can get that we're not having to adapt because somebody else has already done it for me or accommodate. How can we use those in our career tech and ag ed programs in our schools? Or if we have community-based instruction and work-based learning. So that is kind of the meat and potatoes here we're going to talk about for a few more minutes. So that's my learning target here. And so one of the things I had to do is to convince my administration that this is something we needed to look at and do. And so I was able to say, all right, let's look at ONET online. Look at all this ties to ONET online. This ties to the U.S. Department of Labor. This ties to national NOCD standards. And all of these things we're learning in these classrooms, but some of our kids can't do all parts of it. So instead of asking that gen ed teacher to create something themselves or a sped teacher coming in, we can use these kits if we plan ahead of time and work with our students and the teachers. So that is just an example of one of the things I took and used and tried to sell my administration on before we started working this way. So next. So does it support your CTAE curriculum or your goals and your standards? Georgia says, for all of you not in Georgia, we don't just say career tech ed. We have to say career tech and agricultural ed. So I just want you to understand where that's coming from. But there are pre-CTE solutions for middle school and special ed. We can explore their interests and abilities while we're looking at their job ready skills by using this curriculum. which goes right along with your standards. It gives you hands-on experience before they commit to a career pathway when they get to high school, even or after high school. If you get Perkins funding, you could possibly purchase some of these with Perkins funding, and supports your students who aren't really prepared to do a traditional CTE class. So yes, it supports those standards. So does it support them again? Yeah, if in the state of Georgia, we have a bridge bill, and it works very well with that, but it bridges our special ed and our CTE programs. It's differentiated. They're all different types of levels you can get. No certification is required to really do this program, these kits, but if you're the teacher of record, that's going to be a different story. It incorporates life skills while building job skills and employability skills. There are badges they can get. There's some little micro credentialing that they can have, like a certificate once they finish. And it just opens up more of those real world job opportunities. And there are performance benchmarks, and you don't have to create them. They're already created for you to show the progress they're making towards that skill. So I showed you earlier one of our young men doing the maintenance kit. And so he was in his classroom. Well, now he and his classmates who've gone through it work in our local rec department during the school day. And so the skills that they learned in the classroom, they have bridged into their job sites. And these are job sites during the school day right now. But it's helping them for their future. Same thing here. We're using maintenance stuff in a different location. We are cleaning at a local gym, and then the girl on the right is using her cleaning skills in a local cosmetology setting at one of our local hairdressers. So she's taking what she's learned in the classroom and her passion for working in cosmetology, and she is using it here. So what did all this require? Well, like I said earlier, I had to meet with our CTAE or Career Tech Director. We're looking at more kits. We're looking at, for cosmetology, the nail and hair care, adapted and maybe not adapted. For our students who have mild intellectual disabilities, who are getting a regular diploma but just can't keep up with vet science, we've looked at the animal care for our animal science classes as a supplement to help them out. Like I said 1,000 times already, you're not having to create these things or make accommodations. They're already there. And if you're lucky enough to have what we have in the state of Georgia, which is called a career tech instructor who goes into those classes, they can use this with them. They can work with those students. And so it is, it's just a great thing to have access to for your students. So now I'm going to talk about what we were doing for funding, basically. So locate funding for purchasing. Well, there's possibility that, let's say your local rec department or one of your businesses, they have the ability to spend some money and they want to employ some kids after they graduate. We'll talk to them and say, hey, we want our kids to be ready to come work for you. And to be ready to come work for you, we'd love to buy this kit. Show them the kit. Show them what's in it and see if maybe they would sponsor that kit. And then you could purchase it and use it. Because, sometimes our budgets are tight. But it is one of the examples on what we're doing and looking into doing to help purchase more. So it's just a way to help them to see, I'm willing to do this for you if you'll do this for me. And then we can work together and make sure they're learning what they need to learn. And we have sent some of these to our middle school, and they're using them as well. So this is where your curriculum people would love this. So, everybody needs a curriculum map, every subject area or scope and sequence or whatever. So we have sat down, and even for our adapted programs, we have come up with different programs that we use, and we've made our curriculum map that ties to the standards and addresses life skills, employment, math, English, science, and social studies. And it tells us when we're going to pull certain boxes, what we're going to do with it, with these kits. And it's all here, and it's lined up week by week. And it was an incredible undertaking. But our high school teachers started with this, and now we're working on it in all of our other buildings. But it's been a awesome thing for our adapted classes. I just wanted to show you this. You can see right here, it says August 11th through the 15th. Then it says Ed Associates Table Service. So we're talking about kitchen safety, and then we're going to move into all of that. Once again, I just want to show you some pictures because I think you need to see kids in action. Makes it not as boring. So you can see here 2 of our students who are getting ready on the coffee cart. There's 3 of them, all different jobs. One's a greeter, and then the others are working. Just want you to see some fun stuff so you don't think I'm just making this up. And then I wanted to show you this. So our kids had gone through sorting, and like there's a mailroom kit, there's filing, there's several things like that would apply to a job somewhat at Walgreens. So Walgreens is one of our local pharmacies, and we got the opportunity to work there. What our students were doing that they learned from some of the kits I just mentioned was they were looking at the dates. And if the dates were out of date, they had to remove them from the shelves, put the, date for the thing that's going to expire quickest up front, those older in the back. And so that's what they went there to do every day. And we loved this, opportunity for them. It was hard. It was a lot of learning. You got a lot of things to think about when you're doing this. But we got a thank you letter, and I've just copied and pasted it in here from our local Walgreens store manager, because they had their auditor walk in at 8:02 one day, the day after we had worked, and they didn't have time to check everything with a fine-tooth comb. But he looked for out-of-date products, cleanliness, and compliance. And since he came in early, they were a little worried about it. But during their audit, not one thing was found out of date. And our students had done that. And so they were excited and wanted to give us a kudos for that. And so we loved that and have been able to spotlight that, hey, our kids can do this. Our young adults can do this. Next. So then this is another testimony from a teacher who teaches in another system who uses a lot of these Ed Associate kits as well. And so she wrote something about the grocery clerking, automotive repair kit, all the different things that they use, and how it's a support to their CTAE classes as well. So just wanted to share that with you because it's not just me who thinks that. So anyway, I wanted to share that. And then how do you align it with all of these things? Well, there's lots of ways to do that. I've talked about most of it. So if you'll flip to the next slide. I've already talked about the funding, so you can keep going. And Ed Associates people would help you if you needed it, so you can click again. Alignment is right here. So the alignment, I loved how this has your alignments in a chart with Ed Associates, so you can use that and show your administration, because it says Carl D. Perkins Vocational Education Act, and then it can show you the different things and how it would align. Another snapshot of that, just going into more. And then wrapping it up, I feel like I didn't do as good of a job as I would have if I were in person with y'all. But this just shows you different ways that you can help your students move from high school to the real world by using real world materials and different levels. And I did talk more about adaptive because that's where we've started. But we have moved into doing more with the others as well. So I just wanted to let you know a little bit about it. I would love to answer any questions. anything you need, if you want to, reach out to me, feel free. And I did put my email. I didn't do a QR code. I forgot and didn't change it before I sent it to Miss Causey. So I apologize about that. But feel